less editing makes better content. This might actually sound controversial, but it's the exact strategy behind our entire content ecosystem, and I'm going to give everything in this video away for free. So for context, we run Bulletproof Cycling, which is the biggest cycling club in the world focused on longevity, and we're doing over 100k months consistently. And actually, the approach on content shifted a lot on our side, and we went from a lot of editing to close to no editing, and we're getting better results. So let's dive right in. So if you look at content from the bird's eye, it's nothing else than you communicating through camera here with another person. So it's like in person-to-person communication. And there you know, it's 80% how you say things and only 20% what you say. And this comes down also into the content fundamentals. And this is what nobody talks about, but that's actually what moves the needle the most for us. So what's important here? First of all, you need to stay authentic, because most people just like in the modern world became addicted to going viral, and they became dance monkeys, so to say. So instead of just like sharing an honest message, they just dance around from the camera and try to do crazy shit. But this is working if you're an entertainer, but not if you're an actual educational creator or a coach who wants to help people. And then obviously the value. So if you just like talk shit, it won't get you anywhere. And then what also is nobody talking about is the experience. So they tell you can just make content and it doesn't matter. It matters. So because obviously the more experience you got in your field, the better you can explain things, and the more unique of a worldview you got, and that drives the needle. Then the proof. And people go wrong here because they think it's weird to show off proof, and I kind of feel the same. But I have to say, we are the biggest cycling club in the world, because otherwise you won't believe me. So proof is really important, and relatability, just like being authentic, not trying to overcomplicate things too crazy. Just be relatable, show your flaws. I'm also just like here standing in front of a whiteboard. Same with Scott. He's just like in his garden studio, and he's just like himself, and that makes him relatable to people. And then obviously the passion. And that's what you hear in the voice, because it's a lot of in the energy you do communicate to the camera, and that's really crucial, and that's what makes great content. So you notice I just like dropped everything here that is the fundamental for us, but I haven't mentioned any tricks or fancy editing, because 90% of the performance is defined here, and then also only like 10% is going to come from everything that's now going to follow. Because in the end, it comes down to really nailing the fundamentals and really being yourself and being a unique individual, because then you will get all the results. Also, a fun fact, if you look at the biggest creators, you will notice they have no social media strategy at all. They just generally themselves, they're unique in the market, and they just like bring new ideas to the table, and they don't even know and don't overthink this. They just like post random stuff, or it looks like they post random stuff, but they're consistent with it, and they help people reach their goals. And they also have the proof to back it up, because they're the best in the world at it. Okay, strategy. Here also pretty straightforward. We have overcomplicating this for a long time. And what you have to understand, the ideas over the alpha. What does this mean? What are you going to talk about? What are you going to share? This is way more important than everything that's going to follow. Then long-form leverage. What we do with Bulletproof, we always do long-form first. So Scott does YouTube videos like I'm doing it right now in the studio. And from there, we clip it into short form. So not a lot of people create short form first, and that's actually not the approach that has been working for us. For us, it's the reverse. So we just do long form, being authentic in front of the camera, and then from there we clip it into short form, and then we only do supplemental shorts. I call it supplement shorts because it's not the main dish. It's just like it's supplement to the entire production engine, and this makes it pretty straightforward, because just do your longs, then the editing workflow can create clips, and then you just do some supplemental shorts, and you have a really easy system. And if you have the fundamentals here in place, you are pretty much close to there. And then packaging, this is actually the least important, but you still have to do some things right. So what is important and what is not important? So for long form, so what I'm doing right here, YouTube, and also what Scott is doing on YouTube, obviously the title, you really have to spark curiosity with people, and it has to be clear that it's something valuable for them, and with a thumbnail as well. So it has to hook them in, and then also in the beginning of the video, you have to have a punchy hook. And for short form, it's only the hook. So if you do the clipping here, you have to make sure that the first 2 to 3 seconds really catch people. So doing something crazy, doing something visual, doing something verbal, or making sure you grab people's attention. Because if you don't do that, then nothing else matters. And then it comes down to the value and other stuff I already covered. What does not matter, and that's what we actually wasted 80-90% of our time in the beginning with Bulletproof, all the effects, all the animations. So basically just like making some fancy visuals in here. It's too much for people at this point, because social media gets faster and faster, and people just like want raw, authentic value at this point. So it moves backwards. And then also like the entire B-roll stuff. It might look good, but it's the most of the work in the production, but it only drives 20% of the results. So if we look at that Pareto principle, just make sure you have the fundamentals in place, and then you don't have to obsess about editing. What is actually important and what has been making all the difference for us is consistency, volume, and improvements over time, which just means showing up, having your content schedule to stick to. For us, it's 1 YouTube video a week for Bulletproof, and then we clip the short of it. Right now we're at 2 shorts a day. Pretty straightforward. We do this every single day, and we have scheduled this out, everything in place, and we already have always 1 month in advance scheduled, which makes all the difference, because then you can create content when you feel like it and when you're in the energy, and you don't have to dance in front of the camera all the time. So that was the major reshift from us, and we also saved most of the resources with editing here, but still got better results. So just like take these lessons out of the video and don't obsess too much over your content. You are actually an educator. You're here to help people, and don't dance monkey in front of the camera. It's not about views. It's about the quality of the views, and that's how you get it, by focusing on being yourself, doing the most valuable stuff, and showing up consistently for your people.